Yes, sir.
All right. Welcome, challengers, to Battleground of the Gods, a Smite podcast. I am your host, Dep Nation, and joining me today we have Fro Double G
Howdy, everybody.
and Riggs.
Good morning, gamers.
Good morning, gamers. D- yeah, it's real morning for Riggs.
It
It's like
is. I
good.
don't mind it though.
It's good noon for Fro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
good
old
old
good old
noon 30.
9:30 a.m. over here.
Yeah, starting a half hour late today. I was squeezing some extra games in here, and you know what? I feel like it rarely happens. Step Nation's just gonna take the lead here. I'm gonna go first. And I'm gonna talk about a couple of games I had. So the what are we calling them? Adventures. Um, it was Clash this past weekend, and I played a single game of Clash. Had a team that got steamrolled by a pre-made. I'm pretty sure. But it doesn't show up on my Smite Guru, so it's completely speculation here. But it wasn't good for us. My team didn't build anti-heal. It was my first game on Ishtar. I don't think so. Here's the thing. In the past 2 weeks, whenever I've
Was
tried to
that the
play,
only game you played on Ishtar?
that was the only game I've played on Ishtar.
Oof.
Yeah.
That
Um.
I looked it up.
Mhm.
Don't start rage on Ishtar.
I can't recall. I mean, my team was so far behind already.
Oh yeah. 9 and
The
36. I
Raijin,
see this. 9 and
the
36. I see this.
Raijin, the Raijin died 3 times before the game hit 2 minutes. So
That's
if that
unlucky.
gives you any
Oh, no, there's a lot of
any
proof in the pudding here, Dep. I see a lot
inclination,
of what's happening.
yeah, yeah. So and I played Discordia in an arena game, and a similar result came out as to what happened in the Ishtar one. And the next game, arena, I play a Geb. And oh boy, imagine when Dep Nation plays tank and actually supports his fucking team, we win. Wow, it's like you can't rely on your team to do what needs to be done with frontline players. Um, but also, like, I feel like every time I've tried to play this week, it's always like, oh, one of my teammates is being a shitter, wants to surrender at 3.5 minutes, and either feeds the enemy team so that we can't win, or throws up the surrender, doesn't get it, and then decides that base sitting is the best course of action because, oh, I'm gonna ruin my KDR. How dare, guys? How dare? That was the Terra in the arena where I was Discordia. If you didn't catch up, so Dep's a little salty about that. But again, played Ged in the arena. Had a couple failed blink ults, but I was doing Geb things. We were locking the enemy team down. I was throwing some dynamite shields on our Pele, our Mulan. They had a Hercules. Geb shielded a couple people that he was getting. That cleanse, pulling them straight out of the dash, fantastic. My team loved it. And it's such a telegraphed move. It's like, oh, okay, I'll just get the shield ready here, and my Zeus is now safe. Loved it. Loved it. It was a great time by Dep Nation. And then for my most recent game this morning, immediately before we were recording, um, solo queue into a joust just because it's like, you know what? I need to play a mage for one of these Odyssey quests. And, well, joust should be pretty quick, right? Shouldn't last more than, 20 minutes. 23 minutes to be exact is where it ended up. I played Baron Samedi. We had an AMC and a Sylvanas on our team, and oh boy, The 3-stack that was Ishtar, Horus, Scylla did not know how to handle us. I was doing Baron things on them to no end. Oh, Horus is telegraphing a dash in at one of my teammates. Better throw my 2 out so that they just get healed up immediately afterwards. And oh, Horus is then using his 1 after he dashed. Better throw my 3 because he's just standing still, not doing anything. And that secures my 1. And then I pull him in with my ult, and I can rotate my abilities again. That Horus was not having a good time at all.
Bro, that's the worst feeling is like whenever you play a character that where either you already use your mobility or you just don't have mobility and you get Baron 3'd, you're in for a fucking world of hurt because then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're getting 2'd, you're getting 1, you might get sucked.
Yeah.
It's like
No,
your whole
and
world's ending right there.
there was a couple times where the Scylla aggressively dashed in, and I'm like, oh, that was not the move. And I just turned and walked sideways, and Scylla missed her 3. Or yeah, is it 3? 3 the root? 3's the root, right?
The 1, yeah.
The 1. Missed her 1.
Three's the dash.
3's the dash, so 2's the crush. Okay. Missed her 1. She had it locked in. She was doing her dash, and I'm like, oh, she's going to be aiming this where I am. Turn walk. Missed me by a mile. And then, yeah, I did have a misplay. I could have, I almost had a 3v1 if only I had activated my Aegis to stop the crush because the Ishtar and Scylla were both low after I killed the horse. But, you know, gamers will be gamers. I did say, hey guys, you might want to build more anti-heal next game. It's kind of tough with a Baron and Sylvanas on the enemy team. And only a oh no, I guess the Ishtar had Toxic Blade. She needed to hit her autos. I think that's what happened. But you know, big gamer time. Felt great coming in. And the fact that now knowing that I crushed a 3-stack being solo queued, felt great. It feels real good.
Hell yeah.
So Riggs, how were your games, bud? You've been gone for a while. You've been moving, haven't you?
Well, most of the moving's done now. We still have a couple boxes. That's just because I'm lazy. No, I went up to Utah last weekend, partially for Labor Day, partially because my girlfriend's sister had a baby shower. So we went up there, hung out with her family, went off-roading, went on some quads and some dirt bikes and shit. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
It was hot as fuck, dude.
Oh yeah.
That's the one thing. Like we usually make a trip up there, in the like winter time, like usually around Christmas or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super nice because right, like in Arizona, it's super hot down here. We go up there, it's super nice weather change. We go to fucking Utah for Labor Day. It's 105 in Utah. I'm like, what the hell is this, dude?
That's
It's
kind of
hotter up
bullshit,
there than it was down here.
right?
So, but yeah, and then I was telling you before we started recording, I had this weird bug where every time I went to go hover Smite to play some Smite this week,
Mm-hmm.
my mouse just randomly clicked on Dragon Age instead.
That's wild.
And once you do that, you can't stop. So I had to
No.
beat Dragon Age this week. So
Oh,
I
did you
saved
beat
for
it though?
Elden. I did beat it. I saved for Elden.
Nice.
Became a gray. I was a gray warden. I don't know if you know the story of Dragon Age. Drank
I
some
don't.
blood, had some
Oh,
visions,
sounds like a savage
became a
game.
gray warden, saved for Elden. No big deal. Killed
Mm-hmm,
some
mm-hmm.
dragons along the way, as you do.
As you do. Okay.
Yeah. Played then I finally played this fight yesterday. So yeah, I played with Trevor a couple games, went Bacchus solo, full damage. Bacchus got buffed recently. I knew that. Went full damage Bacchus, Bancroft's Claw, give me that. Some poly procs, give me
Mm-hmm.
that. Went 15-2. Absolutely bodied this tier in lane. Then I just was free reign. There was a moment late game, right? Dream scenarios Bacchus. Even if
Mm-hmm.
you're playing like support Bacchus, just Bacchus in general, right? Both of their carries, they had a Hera and a Hachiman backline. both of their carries were kind of stacked on top of each other for some reason. It just happened to work out for me because I was full damage pockets.
Mhm.
Just got a nice flop into the back line, flopped on both of them, knocked them up, ulted them
Oh,
both, just one shot both of them at the end of the game. It was so fun.
no. That's savage.
It was, dude, that's like the best
There's
feeling ever. You get a
there's
double,
nothing
triple
more
flop.
threatening as being a backline and there being a damage Bacchus on the enemy team. Because
Yeah, you know that
there's really
you're trading
nothing
one
you
for
can
one at
do.
least.
Yeah.
If you get knocked up, you're trading one for one at least. Like, sure, he might dodge his full damage, but you're getting bopped with the ult.
Yeah.
That was a fun game. And then I made a sick ass play. So I know a couple weeks ago I was going on about Lancelot, right? You know, everyone was complaining about his horse and what he can do on his horse and whatnot.
Mhm.
Uh, I was playing last night. I was watching the fights with Bryce and Bright and Colorado and stuff. And I was playing a couple games while we were watching it, and I was playing Lancelot solo, right? And they
Mhm.
had a Thanatos in the jungle. So I'm boxing against my opponent in lane, whatever. We start to kind of going on each other. I get kind of low, right? Then all of a sudden I see the little Thanatos execute pop up on myself. I'm like, interesting.
Mm.
So I giddy up on my horse and I go back to my tower a little bit, and I kind of have like, I don't want to say I had like a sixth sense because I wasn't looking behind me obviously, but I kind of like had a
You
sixth
thought
sense
he was
of when he
getting
was gonna.
close. Yeah.
I had a feeling of when he was gonna dunk down, and as soon as I heard the cue, you can, you know how you do the leap up in the air off your horse, right? Well,
Oh, is that immunity frames?
you go high enough that you get iframes from that. So I leaped
Oh,
his execute, turn around, and I just shield toss, or like hit the shield bash on him and killed him underneath tower, and then just walked away. And I was just like, God damn, dude.
that's disgusting.
It was pretty satisfying. And then
Lancelot is a fucking problem.
yeah, that was the only thing I did all game because it was a 20-minute game. And I literally, for fun, I was streaming it to Bright,
Mhm.
and he was he's like, just box this Bologna, just fight her, just see what happens. I was like, all right. So literally, I spent the entire game for no reason. I wasn't doing anything off of it. I was
Mhm.
just like smacking the shit out of this Bologna. We were just going back and forth. I didn't rotate once the entire game, and we won in 20 like 6 minutes, something like that. That was
Jeez.
the only thing I did the entire game.
Just
Was
slap
that?
Bologna.
Other than that, I cleared waves and slapped Bologna. So it was super boring otherwise. And then I had one more where I was playing, got support, right? So I'm
Mhm.
testing out the Fey Blessed hoops, right?
Okay.
The whole I'm putting on some earrings. All my earrings got buffed, you know. Which, by the way, fucking Manticore. I know I talked about it. I think before Manticore spikes, insane, dude. The passive is whatever, but I mean, for the price, right? It's almost. It reminds me. I saw someone make a good comparison to it. You remember when Blackthorn Hammer was super good because it was
Yeah.
like 2,200 gold and it gave you like a bajillion health and
400
power and
health
stuff.
and like 50 power. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I saw someone make a comparison to like Manticore spikes to Blackthorn Hammer, and I kind of agree.
Yeah.
Where
Like
it's
it's too good to not get.
super good base stats wise. The pass is kind of whatever, but like base stats wise, it's super cheap. Gives you a ton of MP5, 300 health, tons of prots. Like pretty
Yeah.
fucking good item.
Yeah.
But anyways, so Fey Blessed, right? Similar shit ton of health, MP5, all that stuff. I was playing Yamoja, which Yamoja healing, right? Ton of healing.
Mhm.
Fey Blessed hoops, ton of procs, bouncing around in the fights, tons of shields everywhere. That shit's kind of sick on Yamoja, not gonna lie. Uh, I had a super sick ult by our tier 1 tower. Our Hui was getting dove by the jungler support. And like there's like the whole tour bus was coming to dual lane. The Kali jumps into the tower, so I ult and the Hui, like I catch her, the Hui's running away, and I catch the Kali right as she's trying to chase him to stun him, and she gets
Mhm.
blocked by the wall, so my Hui runs away, and then they're all trapped in the tower line. It was a
Oh,
sick ass
jeez.
ult.
Yeah.
Put on a clinic 1-1 and 13
Clinic.
that game. I
Jesus
had
Christ.
I had 10k healing and I only did 5k damage. I literally did like no damage the whole game. I wasn't really doing much but I was hitting a ton of my riptides and I had some really good ults. But other than that, I was just spamming healing with the hoops
Yeah.
and compassion. It was a good time. It was a good couple of games that I played this week. And then obviously saving for Elden took importance. I'm the I forget what they call it, the Knight Commander of the Ferelden. I don't freaking know what to call it. Anyways, I'm
I
gonna
don't
play
know.
Dragon Age 2 now, so I'm working my way through it. So those are my
Nice.
games. How about you, Fro? I heard you played a ton of Smite this week.
So I was talking shit and said how you guys played more Smite than I have. I did count. No, I've probably played more. I forgot I squeaked in a day with Bombi and his girlfriend where I played a few assaults. I got Kumbhakarna like 4 times this week in assault. I kind of forgot about that because he is just so ass. Like he is just
In
not
that
good.
mode.
He
Yeah.
just not good at all anymore.
Yeah,
Like
anymore at all.
Mez's
'Cause
DR, the roots DR.
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
the
even
root change
doing
was
your fucking
huge.
alt first screws yourself now. Right?
Even
Where it
with
used
the
to be the thing where you'd want to alt and then when they land, right, you root
right.
them.
You could root them, yeah.
But now it's like, no, you just screwed yourself, right? Because you technically CC'd them with that. So it's like your
Right.
roots. And then do you want to use your 2 before you alt? So it's like, hey, look, they're
Yeah.
rooted, and you're gonna cause your allies to miss abilities doing it that way, right? So it's like you don't really want to do that either. Like you no, he's just shit. These changes did not help him.
Well,
He needs some
and
changes now.
they buffed him by making him able to yawn in his passive.
He's been able to do
Like,
that
I
for
You
a
think-
already
while.
could do that.
Has he?
Yeah, for a
Well,
long
no.
Yeah, no, they
Like, I think the cooldown resets when he goes into his passive.
Okay. Well, that's nice, but his passive's only up every, what is it, 5 minutes?
Right.
And
No, they changed that. They made that like super short. It's like 2 minutes now. But even
okay.
still, he's not good. They
Even
buffed his
still, yeah.
damage and they changed that. But he the DR change, like the root change was such a kind of I feel like it got glanced over when it happened. The root change is such a big change to certain gods. Like Kumba literally gets fucked now if he uses any of his abilities because now he's literally fucking himself if he uses his abilities
Yeah.
on people. Like there's certain gods that it really hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
Kumba's I think Kumba's probably the one that it affected the most.
Right. Because it used to be a thing, like you'd mez them, and then while they were being mezzed, right, you could
Mhm.
fucking hit them with your root, or if they got woken up from the mez, they were still
They were
slowed.
slowed,
They got
and you could
slowed.
still chase them down while you're charging up your team.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
The root was the biggest thing. Like you always guaranteed had a 2-second root, which was always good. Like
Yeah.
you could use it for whatever the situation. If you're peeling, setting up, whatever, you always had a good 2-second CC you could do. Because your
Well, I'd
mez could
say,
get broken and it was like your ult, whatever, but your
Right.
root was always like the go-to.
yeah, exactly. Like the mez, the yawn in his alt may be like his signature or like the thing you think of the most when you think about Kumba, but the actual core go-to, like most reliable thing in his whole kit was the 2, and it's just not that anymore.
Yeah.
With nothing to supplement, so it's rather unfortunate.
I've seen a clip where someone was chasing down like a Kuba support, like they were gonna kill him regardless. It was just a matter of time. But he was like mezzing him and like rooting him and applying all this DR to him. And he goes to turn around and root the guy chasing him, and the root literally lasts for maybe 0.2 of a second, if that. Like he didn't. It's almost like when X-Ball ult used to stun and you used to
Mhm.
like stutter step to not get stunned. It was like that. Like he got rooted and he like stutter step. It was so bad.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Um, besides that, I played a few games yesterday with Stoff, and then we ended up joining Bombi and his girlfriend again. Nothing too notable, except for I had a Hades game. Hades assault matches are always iffy, right? But I did pretty well in this one. Me myself only went 5-3 and 18. Right, so I had a lot of assists. Bombi's girlfriend was on Umoja and had like this nasty ult that like pinched everyone off right at like the zigzag by like the orb kind of area. Which then led me to get like a 4-man ult, and we had a Cuckoo who then turned around with his ult, and Stoff dropped his Kurnanos ult, and it was nasty. Like it just sick combo. So that was pretty notable. Good job, Gabby.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
But I had one game that the whole game itself was fucking hilarious. It's like the third or second. It was the second assault we played in a row, and we had the same enemy on the enemy team, right? Someone named Land, right? He wasn't being a dick or anything. It's just notable name, right? Excuse me. Sorry. So before this match, when we were in the lobby, we're like, holy shit, we have 4 hunters and an Osiris, right? So we're like, oh shit, we need to re-roll this, re-roll it. And I'm like, no. We need to re-roll the Osiris. That's what we need to do. We need to get 5 hunters. So I fucking snatch up the Osiris and re-roll it. Immediately get Neath. And I'm like, all right, here we go. So we have AMC, Ishtar, Anher, Apollo, and Neath on our team. Right? Right?
Oh yeah.
The enemy team end up being Thor, Giannis, Daji, Milan, and Shock. So I'm a little bummed that they were four physical, because then I wanted more magical. Because I, on Apollo, was like, I'm going to go tank. So I went tank Apollo. Yeah. No, it almost worked. It would have been better if they had more magical, right? Because then I could have justified a talisman as well. But I started War Flag, Sovereignty, Void Shield, Shoguns. Forget what I had, but I ended up selling it and picked up Kins because I just wanted a little damage to kind of help. And Mail of Renewal.
Okay.
This game, for one, ended up being like a fucking 35-minute game. Like, you imagine we'd get stomped by the enemy team, but we did not. And like, it ended up being a long back and forth style game. The final score was 53-58, right? So a slapper.
Yeah.
But for like the first 10 minutes, I would just Apollo ult their back orb. Like, they'd be at our tower line. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna ult, and I just go take their orb, and then 1 or 2 of them would chase me to like their Phoenix. And like, dude, it was to the point where, like, we were joking around, be like, oh, I'm gonna get them all trained with the Pavlovian response. But there was literally at one point where I call in my ult, right? And I start doing the thing, and the enemy Mulan just turns around and ults towards her orb immediately. It's like, oh my god, it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that was pretty great. We did end up losing, unfortunately, but we were wholeheartedly expecting to get like stomped. We didn't. So whatever. It was cool. It was fun.
Yeah.
But that's like the only actual like notable game I had. Yeah.
Nice. I have a similar strategy to your Apollo ulting for their orbs and slash. I don't know if I know I've gotten Colorado to do it in Bright sometimes, but I employ a strategy in slash called int for the red buff. Basically anytime the red buff is spawning, if we don't get it, I consider that a loss for the team. So we will get the red buff regardless of what happens.
Regardless of what happens.
So we will be inting for the red buff. I will be ulting for it if whoever I'm playing on, that is my red buff, or at least the team's red buff. I don't care if I pick it up, but we got to get that red buff. So you'll hear me like it'll start flashing, and I'll just start yelling in for the red buff, and then like I've got Colorado, so like I don't even have to say it now. Colorado will see it if I'm playing with him, and he'll be like in for the red buff. So we've got a whole team that knows the mentality now. We all, that red buff is our red buff.
It's a bold
we will
strategy,
be
Cotton.
getting it.
Let's see if it pays off.
My favorite is if we have a mage, which we always have a mage, they will be ulting for that red buff. Whichever
absolutely.
mage ult we have, it is going to be used for the red buff. And I'm happy to see it. Those are my favorite kind of things, like those like dumb little games you can play like with your team, like where Fro's ulting for their orbs. Like it's a fucking orb, but just like the mind games of it is so funny to me.
Right.
Same thing with like the red buff. Like you'll see like once we crack in a red buff 3 times, right? The enemy team will start to be like, all right, they mean business with this red buff. We gotta like retaliate, right? So that they'll start doing shit for the red buff. It's
And then you take them when their ults are down.
yeah, and it's like it's like if we're 5-way splitting a red buff, it's like worth nothing, right? It's a
Oh,
fucking red buff,
absolutely.
but it's just like the mind games of it of just no, this is our red buff. Like
Yeah.
it's just like a pride thing. Like for ulting for an orb, no, it's my orb.
It's, it's
So yeah, if you ever
See,
playing slash defeat,
initially it was the thing where I'm like, I was like super low, right? So it's like I'm gonna die anyway, so I'm just gonna go get the orb, right? But just to deny him. But then after like
yeah,
just the way they responded to that, I was like, no, I gotta do this more.
it's a pride thing. It's a mind game thing. It's a pride thing. It's my orb, not yours. Might be on your side of the map. Doesn't mean shit.
I mean, shit. Gotta love it.
Step over here with a fancy touchscreen laptop.
You know, it's a tablet. So
That
Oh,
makes
what's
sense.
the
I've just got like that magnet keyboard.
I could just
that
see you like doing hand swipes and shit, and then the screen like popping up
yeah.
occasionally.
Gotta get my Raid Shadow Legends new champion Death Knight 2022. No,
Dep.
I was gonna
Stop
say,
that until
right.
I actually take the sponsorship deal.
okay.
I'll let you know.
I was gonna
Actually,
make
no.
Let me know when you sell out
Unfortunately,
for Bocce.
unfortunately, well, it'd be sellout from Fro because it'd be through most likely.
It's Fro stream.
Yeah, it'd be through Stream Elements
Gotcha.
because that's what they want. Although we probably could talk to them about our podcast, but let's be real. I would look for other sponsorships first.
Let's be real. They'd probably listen at least once or twice, hear me joking about it, and they're like, "No, we don't need to." They already advertise. We're good.
We should employ the Rick strategy where we just say random fake ads.
Oh, I love no,
We
like
did
for
that
like
like 2
smite game
times.
items. I really liked that. That was so
We
much
did that.
fun.
We did it like twice, where it was
Yeah,
like
I think
go to
it's
your
just
local
it's
Ford
kind of
dealership and say code BOTG for 0% off.
oh no. Which one am he did an ad for like a smite item though. He's like I forget what it was, but it's like it was meta.
Toxic
Maybe
Blade.
it was Blackthorn, Toxic Blade or
Blade.
Blackthorn
Oh,
Hammer.
because you said it was meta, but it was meta in terms of a podcast.
Yeah.
See, Riggs
Yeah,
remembers.
we should just start doing that randomly. Just start doing fake ads again.
Yeah.
Well, see, okay, I've kind of always wanted to do that, but the thing is, I have seen
tough.
the gaming otaku's videos that he literally called Smite commercials
Mm-hmm.
that were like that. So it's like I want to do it, but I don't want to be like accused of ripping that off. But I also feel like we could probably do a better version. Granted, we'd be just a strict audio, whereas he did like.
I mean,
videos
Fro,
to go
I
with it.
wouldn't have known anyone else was doing it until you mentioned someone else was doing it.
There's also the fact that the Gaming Otaku hasn't released a Smite video in like 5 years, so
So it's not ripping it off.
Yeah. Listen, we just did a BotG Family Feud thing like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
It literally called BotG Family Feud.
Literally.
all right. The difference
I think
between
we're good.
like imitating a big corporation's like well-established game that they like host on TV versus another small content creator's idea, it's a bit different, right?
I got you.
It'd be like
But
if
you go
like
on YouTube and you see all the big YouTube creators and they're all doing the same thing. I gave my chat my credit card. See what happens. And then you go to the next one. My chat took my credit card with $1,000 limit. The next one. My chat had my credit card for 2 days. It's like they all do the same shit.
yeah, and that's why they're lame.
Right.
I mean,
So,
I mean, that's also
hey,
why they're
listeners,
popular, but-
if you want us to do your lame ideas, get into the BotG Discord. Link in the description.
we're
and
gonna
go
be
to our
real.
feedback
Credit
and
cards.
suggestions channel.
No,
Let
we're
us
gonna be
know
real
who you want
inventive
us to
here.
rip off.
No, we're gonna turn the tables. We're gonna be innovators. We're gonna take our chat's credit card, motherfucker. Send us your details. 2
Yeah,
days.
give us your credit card if you want us to have a spending spree and however. Well, you can decide the time limit, but we get to spend the money.
Isn't I almost called our Patreon OnlyFans. Isn't that
We should make an
Isn't
OnlyFans
that what
thing.
our OnlyFans is for?
No, we don't get their credit card info though. We just get the money. We should.
We
We need the
do.
credit card though. That's the thing.
That's
There's a thing stopping us, and that's the it's them
it's
not
the
giving us their
spending
info.
limit. It's the spending
Yeah,
limit
no,
we
we just don't have their
have.
info.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
Although,
Okay.
real quick, we did bring up the Patreon,
Okay.
and so
Yes.
got to bring this up.
Okay.
There was like a 2 month period where Patreon wasn't like active because we had to tax shit basically,
Oh, gotcha.
and we were just a little busy,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, it is back up and running now. Um,
Oh, there's
I
something
did
else
notice
with
there's
Patreon,
like a lot of
bro.
people who are no longer like on it, which is totally fine. I was
Yep.
to let everyone know that's why if y'all felt like we canceled it, we didn't cancel our Patreon at all. Just we didn't collect for that little time period. Again, no obligation to sign back up. Just don't want you to feel like that we like no notice canceled the shit off and said fuck it. You know what I mean?
Pro Double G.
Yeah.
We've had it be a reaction in the Blood Bowl League chat. Speaking of Patreon, it looks like we have a majority on the F6.
Yep, yep. I was kind of waiting for Panda to rule in, uh, but we did already have a majority. I just still,
Yep.
so everyone gets heard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's what Dep's getting at here is our Blood Bowl League, the very first one we ran. Um, I fucked up some of the settings. It hasn't been the greatest because of that. I guess I can't really. I did do it
I
wrong, but
mean,
I
we
didn't
didn't know.
know.
We're
We
new
didn't
to the
know,
game,
right?
like,
Right.
you know.
Um,
So,
so next time we're gonna set it up differently. That's a lot more forgiving, especially for newer players, which
yeah.
all of us, aside from like 2 people, were.
Yep.
So we're doing that. Uh, And we did have
We
someone who also left mid league without just saying anything to anybody. Like they straight up left the Discord too. So
ghosted.
sorry if we
They
upset you.
ghosted Bocce.
Yeah, sorry if we upset you somehow. We have no idea why, but life is life. Who knows? Although there was a thing about accounts getting permabanned on accident. So
Interesting.
yeah. Discord even announced that.
Huh.
So that could have happened, I guess. Long story short, actually, this is long story coming to an end, not long story short at all.
Yep.
We are starting up another league. Um, anyone who wants to join, we do Blood Bowl 2. If you just let us know you're interested, um, more than interested, let us know you have the game and you are wanting to actually play, right? We will give you access to the Patreon section of the Discord. So anyone who wants to join, it's automatic access to the Patreon section. Just for life, by the way. We don't ever revoke it. And access to the special little Blood Bowl section in the Patreon. That is just for the Blood Bowlers. So we don't bug everybody else.
Yep.
And yeah, we're looking for players. I set up another one. There was a lot more people that were interested right after we started the last one. So instead of 8 teams, I'm bumping this one up to 12. But we do need the actual 12 people. I think we're at like down the one and Nev was sitting out. So I think we're at 6 currently if all the current players switch over to the other one with an additional, I think 3 that have been waiting. So we need a couple more. Again, let us know. It's Blood Bowl 2. We'll add you to the league. We'll add you to the Patreon section of the Discord. Have a good old time.
If I can give a hint, or maybe not a hint, but like a word of advice, make sure your players wear Velcro cleats because my guy tripped on his shoelace and died
Yes.
in the middle of his game. So invest in Velcro cleats and maybe check the turf a little bit too. That way you're not tripping. But yeah, that game is not very forgiving.
Yeah, either your guy tripping and dying or Depp's person tripping at the goal line and getting
Fumbling the
knocked
ball.
fumbling the ball, getting knocked unconscious, and then the next person that came up immediately getting immediately getting killed when my person punched him. I'm not sure which one's the more unfortunate one because like that was like goal line, Depp breakaway, dude falls down, dwarf can't get to the ball but can get next to the ball, punch and kills the dude who goes next to the ball. It's like, God
I
damn.
don't remember the stakes of my game when I'm sure I was losing. I didn't score a single point in any of the games I played, so I'm sure my stakes did not matter. Dev sounds like it was worse because there was actually stakes involved. Like he
There
was
were
about to score.
Oh, yeah. And then I got pummeled down to I think 5 players.
Oh, that
So yeah,
happened to me once. Yeah,
there was no it wasn't good. So
that was in the same game where one of my guys tripped on his shoelace and died. I was down to I think I was down to like 5 or 4 players against bragging
yeah,
because they just were dying left and right.
yeah,
And see, here's part of the setting that I said we fucked up. Uh, you could have permanent deaths where they're dead for good, which we had
which is
enabled,
what we had. Yeah,
right? Because I'm like, hey, let's do the true experience. I don't want to rob anyone their first time playing, including myself. Uh, but then the other one, which I misread, also the players die for that match. So like they would have still been gone for the match, but at the end of the
for the
match they
match,
all
but at
come
the end they
back,
come back.
and you
Yeah.
can use them again for the next game. So it's like misread that.
Mhm.
I interpret it how I read it initially is like you can resurrect them mid match, and I'm like that seems like it's taking away from the game. Yeah. Again, let us know. It's fun. It definitely is fun. I do suggest at least playing a little bit first though. Like honestly, like what is it? The first like 3-4 games in the tutorial will cover damn near all the basics you need to know.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's like I think once you beat the elves, I think it's like you just get thrown into the whole game.
Yeah, because it's one of the things like it introduces a mechanic each match until all the mechanics introduced. But yeah, it's like third or fourth one, you pretty much still got them all. But yeah, hit us up.
Yeah, Velcro cleats.
Velcro Creek. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fucking can't talk. Jesus
let's try
Christ.
that one again.
Velcro cleats. That's gonna have to be a new warm up, I guess. Bring back warm ups.
Throw
Bocce.
that in there with unique New York.
Exactly. And red leather,
Yeah,
yellow leather.
remember having to do this
Yep.
back
Yep.
in school.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Well, fellas, we were chit chatting here about doing a did you know, and I brought up a god that I think needs more time than just a quick did you know this about that ability. And so I'm leaning towards the Battleground University. We can still try to keep it reasonably quick, as quick as time will allow. But I think we need to look at Set because, he hasn't been brand new for a while. And I think this god's got some wild potential. And people, I just don't think they know. And I
Yeah,
don't think they know about Set. I think they're like, oh, you throw out his spawns, you use his one, his sandstorm teleports you. And then your ult's like the mega stim, which it is, but like there's some more nuance to it.
yeah. So before we
Yeah,
get into this too much, we did a couple weeks ago start talking about the 2 minute masteries.
Hmm.
And before recording, like I said, that brought up how he wants to bring up the did you know and then mention set, but then we got talking about how like you said, there's more to it. So this is also a good time to bring up how like we would still be doing battleground universities for gods that require more than just a 2 minute blurb.
Yeah.
And
It's
set
those
being
gods with the high skill ceiling.
yep, and set's a great example of one of those gods.
Yep.
An example of a god who maybe would leave under the 2 minute mastery would be either like a Ra or a Cuckoo, where it's relatively straightforward how to do it. You
Circle,
just
line go. Brrr.
yeah,
Yep.
where it's the small things to make it flow. Like hey, Cuckoo for instance, do your sneeze to slow before your ult type thing.
Mhm.
But yep. Anyway, continue. Set with a Battleground University first one in a
Set with the
while.
battleground. Oh yeah, gotta love it. Gonna go through his passive first here. Relentless. Each time Set damages an enemy, he gains a stack of Relentless. If horse is the target, you gain 2. So that's
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 such a
like very
goofy
niche.
thing.
It's very niche.
I love
Each
it to the game, but it's so weird.
yeah, yeah. Each stack
See, I would like if
increases.
they were to broaden that, maybe just like I love that mechanic, but let's broaden that maybe to pantheons at some point. I know it'd be
That
hard
could be
because they'd
fun.
have to go through,
Yeah,
they'd
that'd
have to
be real
code, and it's
tough
not.
and
That's why they
code it for
haven't done it.
each. Yeah.
But it would be cool.
Um, each stack increases Set's attack speed. Stacks max out at 10. They last for 6 seconds. And while his ultimate is active, the passive does not have a stack limit. And so the amount of attack speed increase is 2.5% per stack. So at 10 stacks, you gain 25% attack speed, which
Yes, sir.
pretty darn good.
I would say one of the better passives, at least as far as the assassin classes go.
Absolutely.
Although it's very awkward for an assassin passive, though, I think.
Well, and here's the thing. I think we need to recognize each time set damages an enemy, not auto attacks. Because for
Right.
the longest time, I thought this was, oh, you have to auto attack them to get your passive. No, it's just damages.
Right.
So that includes, we'll get to it, but like year 1, year 2, the ticks from year 3.
Importantly, the ticks from the 3.
Yeah.
Each
But
tick.
we're getting there. We're
Yes,
getting
yep.
there. We're getting there. So his first ability, Skewer. Set amasses his hatred, throwing it forwards. Enemies caught in its path are damaged and slowed for 3 seconds. It's a 25% slow. The dash range is 60 feet, which the dash is for your spawns a set, your second ability. Again, we'll get to that there. Any dash after the first will deal 40% damage. So the damage is 75 up to 225 plus 90% power. And so subsequent hits are 40% of that amount. Pretty good.
It's pretty
Pretty good.
straightforward. I feel like we should talk about his 2 before anything else in his kit, 'cause his 2 is kind of his whole kit. You know what I mean? Like
His 2 is hit.
everything
Honestly,
goes
his
off the
whole
2.
kit has some wild synergy going on. His 2 is spawn of set. Conjures a copy of himself made of sand. He spawns stand where they're summoned and attack nearby enemies. This counts as damage from set, which can stack his passive. Set can have up to 2 charges of this ability, allowing him to conjure spawn in quick succession. Set can interact with the spawn with his other abilities, commanding them to attack or teleport to them. Set can only have 8 spawn at any given time. This ability does not trigger item effects. It's got a standard god attack range of 12 feet on the website here. I'm pretty sure units is used pretty
I like how all of us
universally.
are in feet
Yeah.
for some reason.
The attack damage is 20 plus 25% of your physical power. The dash damage is 50 up to 70% of Skewer. So his 1. And then the duration is 8 seconds, leveled up to 12 seconds. So they last longer the more you level the ability.
Real quickly, you mentioned 2 charges on the 2, right?
So that's like money in the bank. Think of like how Pele.
Oh, I know how it
one
works.
work. Yeah.
Right. I was just going to describe for everyone else.
Okay.
So yeah, like that was saying, like Pele is a great example. The charges are your passive icon, which will be the swords on the side of the icon. When it's red, you have a charge. It'll go away. It'll turn, I think it's gray or like the gold color, whatever. Yeah, that's one thing. It's they don't ever quite mention that in a lot of different gods who have like built-in charges that you heavily have to look at, like your passive icons for stuff like that. Those aren't just decorations, although for a lot of gods they are.
Yep. So
in a way,
his icon, while keeping track of the passive, it does also keep track of how many charges of his 2 he has, which the 2 also great for auto canceling because it's an instantaneous cast and it resets his attack chain.
Isn't it like his 3rd or 4th auto's got like this big wind up where he like spins his staff above his head?
It's something like
he has
that.
An attack chain, does he?
I think he does.
I don't think he does.
Either way, auto cancels optimal.
Oh, you don't really need auto cancels for the. Oh, okay, we're getting in semantics. Auto cancels versus animation cancels.
Auto cancels. Yeah. Sandstorm.
We should get into that someday, but not today.
His third ability. He conjures a sandstorm around him, protects him from damage, causing him to be immune to slows. Enemies near set are damaged every 0.4 seconds for 6 seconds, have their vision obscured by the sands. So it's a local blind and just AoE damage. If set is targeting a spawn with this ability, when you cast it, you'll immediately teleport to the spawn. Otherwise, he can reactivate this ability to teleport to a spawn. He can only teleport once per sandstorm. And so the damage is relatively small. The damage reduction is 10% damage reduction, and it's a 65-foot teleport range.
All right, so it words it kind of weirdly, but essentially what it's saying is you can teleport to a clone,
Yep.
right? Or you can activate your sandstorm and then you can teleport to your clone, but you can
Right.
only make one teleport per cooldown.
Yep.
Yeah, they word it kind of weird, but that's essentially what it means.
Well, and so I feel like a lot of times people with this ability, they'll think, oh, I'll just teleport immediately to a clone. No, maybe you you stay in while you're boxing, you're using it for the damage reduction, and then you can teleport out before
Teleport
the
out,
sandstorm
yeah.
goes away.
Where you can follow them when they get out because
When
you're
they get
fucking them
out.
up.
Exactly.
Put a clone where they jump to or dash to or whatever, and then you just
Quick
stay on
teleport.
them.
Yeah. And then Kingslayer, this is the ultimate stem. He gains 25% increased move speed. Each time set attacks a god, they gain a mark of set. At 4 marks, the target erupts. So a bit of Chernobog passive there, in a way. Enemies take a burst of damage on each explosion, while set becomes empowered, restoring health and immediately gaining a charge of Spawn of Set. Excess charges are immediately consumed, causing a spawn to appear near set. So the heal is 35 up to 75 plus 25% of your physical power.
Yeah, it's a nice little heal.
Yep. The
And
damage is
it's
25
very
up to
forgotten
65.
about too.
Oh, absolutely.
Like people don't buy anti-heal against set, and it's like, okay, well, his ult's going to be a problem then. Like,
Yep.
you could argue that he himself doesn't warn it completely. You could make that argument.
Yeah.
But
and
it's
so
sizable.
really combining his 3 and his his ult lasts for 12 seconds. Longest stem in the game. Pretty wild. But his
Is
ult,
it really?
I think so.
It's got to be up there.
12
right?
seconds
That's a
for a
pretty long
stem?
For a stem? Yeah.
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 And that's how I would describe this ability, right?
Yeah. No,
mean,
yeah,
that's
that's
what it
fair.
is, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just didn't dawn on me that it was 12 seconds, and it's like, yeah, that is a chunk longer than everyone else out there, like that I can think of. Like even items, like even if you look at like the what is that frenzy, the relic that gets refreshed. I think that caps at like 8 or 10 seconds, like at maximum time. Like
Something.
everything works out optimally for you. Yeah, that's
I was
cool.
gonna
That's
say
cool.
that the next closest one I can think of, like for a god, I think is a Wheelix, right? There's just like 8 or 6, I
7
think.
seconds for her ult. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
12 seconds. Hell yeah.
So let's take a quick look at this bloated ability. It removes the limit on his passive. It gives him 25% move speed. It gives him a modified Chernobog passive with your auto attacks. And it also gives you a heal tied to that Chernobog passive.
Well, and it casts you
it-
2 for free.
If you have your stack saved up, which means you still have 2 casts of your 2, which your 2 gains an enormous amount of power, or your 1 gains an enormous amount of power based on all of the additional spawns you have out.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit your target. But also, if your spawns are near you dealing damage, that too is building your passive. And your sandstorm is building your passive.
Yep.
So
No, yeah, there's definitely a lot of synergy in it.
huge wild synergy with this god. And
If
you know,
I
Reed-
may give a
Oh, go
tip
for it.
about the ultimates as
Give it to
well.
us. Yes.
So you may notice it says you gain 25% movement speed, right?
Yep.
Well, you know how when you auto attack, you get a movement speed penalty.
Yes.
So a little tip with set, don't hold your auto attack button down when you're going on somebody. Just if you're on PC, just click, like manually click when you want to auto attack. Then you will always be sticking to the person that you're trying to stick to. Don't hold down left click because then you're going to be eventually they'll run away from you because you're
I
going to have the movement speed penalty.
I think we
If you
can remove that tip from set and apply that to assassins.
Any
But
god.
yeah,
Yeah.
set ult especially though, because I feel like this one you literally need to be autoing people. Like if you're not autoing people, you're not doing anything on set. You're just running around fast.
Right.
But like that's a little like tip if you want to stick to people, whether you're playing like damage set or tanky set. Like if you just don't just hold down your auto attack button. Use it when you need to. Obviously, like you might be clicking a lot, right, or hitting trigger a lot with your front console, but like
Mm-hmm.
just don't hold it down, or else you'll get the penalty. If you just like click when you need to attack, you won't get the penalty, and you'll still be zooming.
Yep. Yeah. So
And
really,
of course,
I
that's
feel
obviously if you're not thinking about going like Frostbound or Katana, which
well,
neither
you've
are
got a
necessarily the
25% slow on your one.
greatest. But yeah, no, I'm
I
not
would not
saying
go
it's bad.
either.
Yeah,
I would go Frostbound like if you're having like fun or whatever and you're playing like tanky set.
yeah,
But
you could argue
Yeah.
tanky
Oh
versus
yeah.
reset. Like,
Tanky.
yeah. I would
Yeah.
definitely
So
like that's what I'm saying. Like, it's this applies if you don't want to do that. But I see enough people trying that. Even though, again, I'm with you, Rick. I wouldn't. I see enough people doing it anyways.
oh,
It's like, all right, well, this wouldn't apply to
getting
you then if
called
that's
Rick
what you're.
couldn't be
I
me.
know
I did.
I heard
I'm
it
at
too. It's
Riggs. I'm at Riggs.
okay.
Uh,
um.
to be
So trying
fair,
to
phonetically, it's very similar. Rick,
the
Rig.
ri. Yeah.
Well, it's the first start, and it's just different between a k and a g,
Yeah, but listen, I
and
don't
they both
cheer for
kind
a
of gag on
shitty
the k.
college like South Carolina. I cheer for a shitty college like ASU. All right.
Oh
So,
shit. Football fans, you'll get that one. Um.
yeah,
So
we
yeah,
both suck
I think
though.
a couple of things to note is your sandstorm gives you damage reduction from damage coming in, so mitigations. Interesting that they have damage reduction on there.
No, it's two different
Um,
things. No. That's
Because
it's
it is
it's
reduction.
it's reduction.
mm,
Reduction and mitigations
It's
are
just
two
a
different
flat
things.
reduction of damage.
Yep.
Okay, so damage reduction 10%, and then also you don't always have to teleport when you cast the ability. You can activate the ability and then teleport later. Your sandstorm builds your passive, your spawns build your passive, your skewer builds your passive, and
He
your ult is
actually
bloated.
sounds fun. He's like my second least favorite god, right? He's just a notch above Amma, but I'm not gonna lie, he actually kind of sounds fun after talking about him.
Right.
I'm not gonna
I
play him.
Build
but
awareness for set right now.
fuck
I think we talk about like play style now with him because I agree with
Oh,
Fro.
sure.
He's never been my favorite, but I really enjoy his play style. Once you kind of grasp like how to play him in whatever role you're playing him in, I think he's super fun. But I
Mhm.
agree, like he's not really one of my favorite gods. But so like
He's
for
like a
play style, right? I'll jump into it. He is an assassin, right? So let's say you're playing him damage.
Mhm.
I think I talked about it a long time ago when we were talking about like Circuit and stuff, but I would echo the same thing as I did with Circuit, where he is the epitome of an assassin that plays cleanup. Do not go in to the
Early.
like thick of a fight. Like you will just get shredded. You won't do that much, and you'll die. He is the epitome of chase down. Like let's say right, you're kind of hiding in the shadows, you're lurking on the side. Obviously, if you're playing like assault or something, it's not
Mhm.
quite the same, but for like context sake, let's say you're playing like arena or slash or like conquest, right? You're hanging out on the sides, right? You're seeing what's happening. You're kind of like a waiting for the right moment. Then all of a sudden you see their mage, right? Aegises and uses their escape out of the fight, right? Then all of a sudden that's your moment, right? You teleport in, ult, run them down, kill them, whatever. But like unless you're building tanky, which in this scenario, let's say you're playing like you're building power, you're building damage, you do not want to be in the thick of a fight, or else you will die. You do a lot of damage, but you won't last long enough. Your ult, it does last for 12 seconds. You're not gonna get anywhere close to 12 seconds off your ult.
No.
So I
That 12 seconds is
very
meant
much
for
say,
chasing the person down, right?
Yes. Yep. It's
Or
the movement
Yeah.
speed. It's the
yeah, like you fight for 6, chase for 6. It's not meant for the entire time staying in there.
Well, and here's something to note as well is his passive still only lasts for 6 seconds. It doesn't gain duration unless you refresh it.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're ulting, you should be refreshing it constantly. So
Sure.
I'm not super worried about that. But like, it's funny how you notice, right? There's a trend with assassins. Don't go in to the thick of the fight on a majority of the assassins. Wait for your opportunity, and I feel like if you do that, the assassin class as a whole will change for you, and you're gonna be like, wow, assassins are a lot more fun. Or maybe they're better than I thought.
Yeah, a
There's
lot
only
of
a handful of assassins that go in maybe to start a fight or like can be in the thick of a fight.
Yep.
and they're usually an exception because of things like a Hunbat's ult, where it's like they can because they disrupt everything
that's
around
a huge
them.
disruption.
Or
ability.
a Kali because she can't die. Like, you know what I mean? And even then, Kali's probably still not best to be dove in there. But there are certain comps who run like some things like Kali Geb or Kali Kepri, right? It's like allow the hyper carry to be a huge menace in their own right. But those are exceptions, or they're comps built that way to facilitate. So, yeah. Assassins, dude, they're janitors. They're janitors 9 times out of 10. Like, if you think back, if you look at like Loki, for example, what's the most annoying fucking Lokis you run into? Not the one who ults you in the middle of the team fight, but the one who ults you as you trying to get out. The one who's like, you're in the middle of the backing animation, then all of a sudden you just hear his stupid little laugh as he fucking knifes you in the back and you die. And you're like, oh, well, fuck me, I guess. Like, those are the most successful junglers and assassins. Well, I guess I'll say assassins. It doesn't always translate to jungling because that requires map awareness, etc. Yeah. Again, I'm also going to suggest watching Rain Day's video on how to play assassins. They're so fucking good.
For like just in general for set, I would say like, and I'll go to like a tanky or more place. That's the way I play him as tanky. I play him on solo, so like. But just in general, right? Your 3 does a shit ton of damage, regardless of whether you're building tanky or damage, because it, like Deb said, it lasts for 6 seconds and it ticks every 0.4. So it's I can't do math right now. Don't ask me to do math, but it's a lot of ticks.
Yep.
And it does a good amount of damage as well as you're autoing people, you're slowing them.
I think that's 14.
I would say use your 3. If you're gonna start box people, use your 3. It lasts for a while, and then you can make the decision, right? Like I said earlier, if you're winning the trade and they try to get out, put a clone where they go to and teleport to it before your 3 goes away. If you're losing the trade or you want to get out, put a clone behind you and teleport to it before your 3 goes out. But use your 3 aggressively, I feel like, because a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people I'll see, like, they're like, oh, I need to teleport out, and then they'll just use a clone and use your 3 to get out. But like, it gives you damage reduction, it does good damage. Like, it can help you a lot win trade.
It's your boxing tool.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say use it aggressively. Don't be afraid to use it aggressively, and then you can make the judgment call as it's starting to wear down. Like, do I need to go? Do I need to get out? Can I go in? Like, what do I want to do with it?
Right.
And then same thing with your ult too. Like I said, it lasts for 12 seconds. You can make a judgment call. You can pop it before you go into a fight, and you can sit around and wait for maybe something to happen. Like I said, like maybe one of their carries uses a relic or jumps out or something. You can pop your ult
Gives
and
you
like
that
wait
chase
and waiting. Yeah, and then you can go in because you have 12 seconds to do shit with your ult. So you can make some judgment calls on set. You don't have to just dump your kit and get out, or you can have some flexibility with how you play it.
Yeah. I will say synergizing the ult and the 3, because you're getting the heal, the bonus damage, and then the damage reduction.
Yeah.
You know.
I
would say don't use your ult if your 3 isn't up. You know.
Correct. Use your 3 when you ult.
Normally, like, I wouldn't say like certain relics or core on a god, but you kind of almost always have to do beads and blink on set, because both are just like, I mean, not always, right? Obviously, you can build others, but both are just, and you'll see this a lot on a lot of junglers and assassins in general. But just the beads, so when you do go in, right, so you don't get locked down, so you can actually get out of whatever CC they were trying to do to either peel, or even if they were trying to self peel. Then the blink, just simply because then you have your mobility still open, right? Without having to, like, earlier Riggs mentioned like that scenario with the Zeus who just Aegis, right? And use your 3 to go in. Well, it's also good to maybe have your to blink in instead, right? Um, the beads could, or
I'm
not the
gonna
beads, the blink
hard
could.
disagree.
All right,
I'm
with
gonna
the blink.
hard disagree with Blink.
Okay,
There's a few assassins I would say don't ever go Blink on, and I would say Set is one of them. I think you need Aegis on Set to avoid whatever you're gonna get into. Because I think if you're going in, you have to know that you have to
People are
play
going
your
to turn
position
on you.
well.
Yeah.
You have to be able to, like, don't, if you have to blink on somebody, I think then you shouldn't have gone in anyways. Because your 3 should be enough to close the distance on whoever you're gonna go into, and it should be enough to be guaranteed. Like,
It
you're
is
gonna be able to stick to them.
it is
And
range
I think you need
65.
Aegis. I think you need Aegis to, like, immune something if you're diving people. There's only a few assassins I would say that on. Like, I would say that on, like, Cleo as well. Like Cleo, Set. There's only a handful I would say don't get blink on. Then I would say Set is one of them.
yeah, I could see where you could argue against the blink. I'd say that like Aegis being a necessity, it would definitely depends on the comp, but I'm not going to say that it's a bad, right? It's an impossible statement to say that Aegis is a bad pickup on like any god ever, really.
Yeah. And I guess I'm not saying like don't ever go blink, but I would say like
No, I see what
like
you're
you said,
saying.
like on most assassins, right? You're gonna pretty much go blink and then beads, or beads
Beads
blink, whatever you want
blink.
to go
Yeah.
first. But like I think there's only like maybe, I don't know, I can think of like 2 or 3 off the top of my head where maybe instead of defaulting to blink, you would default to
Ninja would
Aegis
be
and then
another
say,
example where the Aegis might be the good pickup, right? Because like you end up in the fray of the shit so much,
Mm-hmm.
well,
and you
yeah,
don't.
and you basically once you ult somebody, then like you did your job basically, like
Yeah.
however you want to get there. But I would say maybe like Thor is another good example. You don't really need blink on. Like, what are you gonna do as a blink Thor? Like,
Yeah, he's already got a global ult and teleport. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, no, yeah, that's those are
Tsukiyomi,
good.
same thing. I would say like, what are you gonna do as a blink Tsukiyomi? Like,
Blink and start charging your 2, like whatever. Yeah,
yeah,
there's fair. That's fair. There are definitely some, and I guess
I would,
Set could be argued as that as well.
I would just say my argument is the default, in my opinion, would be beads Aegis, and then maybe think about, if you don't need Aegis, think about something else. But like, I wouldn't personally default to blink beads on Set,
No, that's very fair. That's very fair.
whereas I would on like other assassins. I would default to
Right,
like blink beads.
but I will definitely beads is hardcore. Like
Oh,
definitely needed
yeah.
on him.
Oh
Though.
yeah,
I mean
on
that's
like
Yeah.
that's
everybody in the game.
yeah, like
Yeah.
everybody in the game. But like I feel like you
It
can't
doesn't
be
have any CC
cheeky
immunity.
with your junglers or assassins, right? Like
Mhm.
you have to get it.
Yeah.
Right. I know some people will like
He
try.
has slow immunity. That's it.
Right.
So
Well, I
if
do
you
know
hit
like some
any other
people will
CC on you, you're
argue
fucked.
like for instance there's gods like Zhang Kui. Some would argue that like beads isn't necessarily as needed on him as whereas like maybe an Aegis and like a sprint or an Aegis and
A blink,
a
baby,
frenzy
blink ult
A
Aegis
blink
while
ult.
your ult's
or
going off. You
yeah,
just
or
Aegis.
blink on
Yeah.
him, right? Or like those are an argument where it's like, beads maybe isn't actually necessarily as needed, but again, that is a niche situation for sure
Mhm.
because his ult
Yeah.
can still be doing actual good damage in a big AOE while Aegis is going on. So we're getting a little off topic.
Can you
Mhm,
imagine if they
mhm.
removed beads?
Oh, I think they'd quickly realize that there's way too much CC in the game, and I honestly, I think they should start stripping some gods of their CC.
Well, I mean, they've already did hardcore changes to CC with all this DR.
Yeah.
Like I do kind of bitch about it because I don't think they've necessarily tuned some gods in accordance to how the game works now.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Like Kumba, for instance.
Like Kumba?
Yeah.
Yep.
But I do think for CC wise, Smite is feeling better. I still find it a little frustrating that everyone's a little tankier. I don't know. I'm getting a little more used to it. But I don't know if it's that or if it's like these items are beginning to get a little strong again.
Yeah, it's like when everyone's tanky, nobody is, you know? Like, I don't know. It's
well, no, it was purely the time to kill.
Yeah, all it did is really make what is it, the percent health items stand out more, right?
Well, it was supposed to increase the time to kill by just a smidge, which it did.
And that really
Listen, they could double down on the time to kill stuff and then just remove beads. Make everybody tankier, but get rid of your CC
the time
immunity.
to kill. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, make everybody even more tanky. Just get rid of CC and get rid of beads. So if you want CC immunity, you better have it in your kit or buy Magi's.
I don't think we can fully get rid of beads just because gods like Ares and Daji exist.
Bring it into Aegis, make them the same again, and reduce the duration.
No, please don't. I don't want my carries buying.
When you say reduce the duration, you mean the duration of the effect, like down to how Aegis is only a second and a half.
Make it just 1 second.
Bring it down to 1 second, and then keep the cooldown. Yep, up to like 200 seconds.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie, if it was more like that, I'd be more fair. But at that, I'd be more for it. But on the same hand, like, is that like never gonna be up and never usable and so small that it's pointless?
Dude, make it like the old system. They have such a nice hybrid right now of the old system and the new system. Just fully commit to doing the old system. Make everybody have to pay for their relics. So that way you don't have to start off the game with beads if you don't want to buy it. But let's say they have good CC level 1 or before you think you're going to plan on buying beads, then you got to start the game on beads, spend 300 gold.
I kind of like the system that they have already right now. Like, I think the base one for free is fine. I see no problem with that. I see no need to force people to spend 300 gold at the start of the game to handle the CC. Like,
so I'm definitely in a skewed world of my envision of Smite, but if they're gonna give you a free relic, it should only be Blink at level
1. But we just went over the fact how Blink isn't necessarily a good relic on everyone.
Yeah, but it'd be the only free one. And you just see it more. Think of how fun your Smite.
And it depends what you're talking about here, because are you talking about how you could you sell this like a shard? How it's there, you have it until you buy a replacement.
Sure.
Okay, because that's totally different then, right? Because then I guess
think about that, honestly.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, if that's what you're talking about, everyone gets that for free. Like, is it to be replaceable? Because okay, I can't really bitch about free stuff, right? But then on the other hand, like if you're forcing Blink onto someone like Set or Cleo, we just went over how that's not necessarily good on them.
All right. Yeah, Fred, you gave me a good idea. I didn't think about making it a free Blink. Give everybody a free Blink at level 1, and instead of giving them like a free option for relic, if they want to buy a relic, make them pay 300 gold. Okay. Otherwise, they get a free Blink that's like a small Blink, right? Even smaller than current Blink. And then if you want to buy actual Blink, it's like a really long Blink. Boom. Everyone's blinking at level 1.
I wouldn't be opposed to what you're saying here about having to pay for it. But I'm not sure if Blink would be the good default. Blink. If anything, I think
fun relic.
I don't know. I don't know what the default would be. But I wouldn't be opposed to doing that type of system, right?
Thorns.
Everyone just popping it would have to be something actually useful. Unfortunately, I think the most valuable and like most universally useful thing would have to be some sort of either med or like a beads Aegis. Which does that really solve much anything if you get a free, even if it's a one-time use thing, right? Like, I don't know.
Now that would be interesting.
Well, one-time use,
everyone gets a free TP.
One free TP at the start. I'm not opposed to that. See, things like that, it's like,
yeah.
right? And then you can spend your
Useful
300
at the
gold.
beginning of the game. If you die early, you're not missing out on 2 farm. It might prevent snowballing.
Honestly, you say that, Riggs, like a bit of a joke, but that would also kind of help cut down on one of the most frustrating parts of like early game for people who like don't necessarily enjoy it or don't know how to play it. Uh, and that would be like the early deaths leading to early snowball. But on the same hand, that also would kind of create a bit of its own problem with the fact that like it would also take away from some of the reward, right? Of getting an early victory.
Well, no, you still get
But
your
you
gold
you
and
would
such.
still
It's
you still get the gold and such, right? But like part of like the reward from getting a kill early is like, all right, now I'm gonna get these extra camps and I'm gonna hit 2 before you. I'm gonna hit 3
and
before you. I'm gonna hit
and
5
maybe here's
before
the
you.
thing, if you still have it at 5 minutes, maybe it disappears and you get 50 gold or something. I don't know.
I mean, if you have it at 5 minutes, you back and I guess you could argue that you could sell it, but then people would probably just sell it early.
Well, no, like
But
have it be like a hard cut. At 5 minutes, it disappears from your inventory if you haven't used it, and you get 50 gold for it.
also wouldn't be a horrible thing.
I was kind of fuck around, but I do miss the old system because it gave you the opportunity to make a choice, right? And I think that's the best
Sure.
thing you can do in a game is give people more choices. And right now, it's not like it's the biggest issue ever. I'm just kind of bitching about something that doesn't really matter. But like right now, right, when you load up a game, you don't really have to make a choice of do I want to get a relic? It's which relic do I want to get for free right now? As opposed to do I want to maybe start in a different way, right? Let's say like back in the day, you would start like tier 2 horrific, or you would go way back in the day, you would go tier 2 sprint because there was like a 1700 or not 1700 gold, there's like a 700 gold sprint that you could start off the game with that would give you a little bit more attack speed, I think is what it was. And you could be like, I could try to make a play at level 1 or level 2, whatever, with a sprint that they're not going to have a thing for. But if I do that and I don't get it to work, then I'm punished because I have the sprint. But like, you could kind of do the same thing now by upgrading a relic at level 1, but it's like they're gonna have something to counter it because they're also gonna have. I miss
I
the
guess I just
option
don't see the
to do stuff like
value
that.
in that just for a relic. I see it leading to more frustration from failed attempts, right? Because it's going to be a failing strategy 9 times out of 10, right? Unless
Well, maybe yeah.
What if they increase
Depends on what you do.
What if they increase the cooldown on the free relics, Riggs?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe yeah, that might work.
Or shorten
Well, I mean,
the duration of the free relics.
the first upgrade on all relics is just shortening the cooldown for 300.
Right.
Yeah.
That is the first tier, or that is tier 2 for every relic, is just shorter cooldown 300.
Make it that 5-minute Kumba passive.
I just think too, like the argument of like it's gonna lead to frustration because well, like that's their choice though. Like they don't have to start by upgrading a relic like that. I feel like it should be a risk reward thing because imagine if it worked with the time it does work, then all of a sudden you get rewarded for making like a fun play like that.
I mean, you
I think
already can start the game by spending 800 and doing that.
Yeah.
Right, and picking
Yeah,
up
but they have a
upgrade.
guaranteed counter of they have the potential of a guaranteed counter. They might not have the perfect relic to counter what you're doing, but they have an option because they have a free option is what I'm saying. Like back in the day, they did not have a free option. If you picked up like horrific at level 1 and they didn't have beads or sprint at level 1 because they didn't buy a relic and you did, then you automatically had an advantage in those early levels.
Well, just with for the moment that you have that, which I get what you're saying there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But you now are completely fucked in any sort of clear. And like we have at this point, like Cupid's getting a buff or a nerf that way, just his heart bomb doesn't do as much damage to minions. So his clear's not too strong at this particular level. Like we're doing those style buffs. And then you're also or nerfs, right? We're tweaking it to that point.
If his heart bomb's clearing wave too fast, it might be how powerful the items are, not Cupid's abilities.
Well, then everyone would be clearing too fast.
Mm-hmm. They're not. Izanami doesn't clear too fast. Maybe we should nerf
Izanami
her
does because
autos.
her passive.
Yeah.
Izanami sucks though.
Wow. So nerf Izanami passive. No, not her passive. What are you talking about, bro? Get out of here.
Her autos? Those are her passive. That's part of her passive. Is it not?
Her passive's the low health pen thing.
Okay, it's
isn't
part
it?
of her autos. Whatever, sorry. It's
Yeah.
part of her fucking kit. That's just how she clears. That looks like
Right,
saying, "Oh my
so
god,
why-
Apollo can travel on the map." Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's
part of
Cupid
Apollo.
Heart Bomb when you get your autos in and his passive built clears wave. Okay.
Right, but they literally just pass a nerf that targets specifically the damage of the heart bombs to the minions, right? Not the damage of the heart bombs in total, just the part of the ability that does it to the minions because of like a clear at a certain level, right? That'd be the only reason why they did all that. That's what I'm saying. Like when we are worried about like level wave 1, wave 2, wave 3
right,
clear.
and I think when you have to nuance a god like that, there's something else that's the problem, not that god.
When I'm saying we're getting to the point when we're nuancing like that, bring in another strategy that's like, hey, go without items, just a relic. Like you're just gonna get smashed so hard. And granted, yeah, it's your choice and all that, but yeah, the whole thing is at the very start of the game. Yeah, were you getting this magic money to pay for this relics? And if you have that magic money, why doesn't your opponent?
The relics back in the day only costed like 700, 800 gold. It'd be the same as it was now.
That's half of your starting gold. You get that in starter.
Starter and
starter relic. Okay, yeah, you just will be. That's what I'm saying. You're just going to be out cleared, like so hardcore.
Maybe not.
Not if they're dead, because you have horrific.
I mean, I feel you on that, right? Because but I don't necessarily see how just like forcing people to spend money to have these relics in the first place happens or like is necessarily beneficial. Because using your horrific, for example, I used to run, and Izanami, by the way, I used to like to run Bacchus Izanami lane with the Bacchus picks up horrific, right? As soon as the waves meet, you leap on the motherfucker and horrific. Somebody almost always dies, right? And yeah, you're right. A lot of times we would just pull the beads from the carry. That's what would happen is the carry beads, level 1, wave 1. Which, yeah, does kind of suck because like that is your point that they just always have the answer to it, right? Available to them at level 1. But we would almost like 8 out of 10 times kill their, I guess I could say 4 out of 5, would kill their carry instead, or not the carry, their support instead. And then now they have to proceed without having beads for the next however long. I don't remember at the top of my head how long that was back then. While being down to support, like you can still pull leads off from this stuff, right? And I know you're not saying that it's impossible to, but I just don't necessarily see. I see it more frustrating for the player base as a whole to reward very few people in Masters who want to feel like they're big braining in their ranked games.
I mean, listen, I know I'm wrong because the game's not like that anymore. So like,
well, pro
point proven, Ajax changed it to the way it is now because people wanted it like the way it is now. So I just in my fairylands, that's the way I would like it.
Fro Double G. You mentioned having your Bacchus Izanami belly flop horrific strat in the duo lane. You know who's not affected by that? The mid lane. You know what gods are normally in the mid lane? Mages. We got a new CC. Build us a mage. That's right. We finally made it. We have finally made it. Only use mage passives for your passive. 1s for 1s, 2s for 2s, 3s for 3s, and ults for ults. Because the ult is also the 4. So you use it for.
All right, all you motherfuckers who keep trying to sneak mage abilities into other kits. Here's your chance to actually use them.
Yeah. Here is your chance. And I believe, Riggs, you said you are typing this up, getting ready to post it.
Yeah. typing it right now.
Oh shit. That
And let
means
us
I need to
know
get ready.
if perhaps you're not going for the most nuclear blow 'em up god. What god are you going for? Are you going for Mr.
Motherfucker,
Mobility?
don't say utility. God damn it. Let us know. We get it. Utility means non-burst.
What utility?
What utility?
Yeah.
That gets frustrating when they're like, this is kind of a utility god. It's like, well, yeah, Giannis is utility and Afro's utility. What the fuck do you mean utility?
Right. Horus could be considered utility. He's not mage, but you know what I mean.
See, he's got a very utility ult.
A utility ult.
Emoji 3's got a lot of utility to it.
Yep.
No, it doesn't. It rings you one way or another and gives you movement speed or slow. So just fucking tell us what you're doing.
Also a shred.
Yes, it does have a lot of utility to it. Dep. Maybe I should shut up.
maybe you better check yourself, bro.
No, I just
No,
like
I
Dep
know
was
it.
saying, just let us know further what you're trying to do. Because there's a
Right.
lot of people that have brought up, like, after we've talked about their god that they've made, like, oh, I was kind of going for this. It's like, well, you didn't tell us. Like,
Right.
Not in a rude way.
But
like,
also
let us
think of it
know.
this way. We read these out on the episode. And so when you're listening and you're like, wow, sounded kind of dumb when he said that out loud. Well, we're just reading it, guys. We're just reading what you post.
I think
I
Dep
will
just
say
called you
too,
guys dumb. Wow, that's
I did. Come at me.
Glossing over the fact Depp just insulted all the listeners' intelligence.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
I will say
Use
I
Grammarly.
think that
Not a
the
sponsor.
record right now is 3-1. I'm pretty sure I dominated 3 of the categories. I dropped the ball a bit in the hunter. I didn't make my hunter until we recorded the episode, so I'll take the L on that one. But I'm 3-1 against the community right now and making these gods.
I will
That's
take the victory for the
wholeheartedly
hunter then.
in his own opinion too. By the way,
Mm-hmm.
I think my warrior
mean,
was still more slapper.
My opinion, facts.
I think we all had excellent guardians. It's very difficult to say one was better.
Well,
than
yeah,
the
especially when half of us came up with like, so I picked Ymir passive, right?
other. Right. Pre-crits. What are you talking about?
Dude, I can't wait till the first time we see someone say Morgan ult, I'm gonna lose it.
Right.
Why?
Like, because fuck you.
It's actually
That's such a cop out.
Yeah.
I would turn any god in the game.
Right.
it is a good ult though.
It is a really good ult. I just feel like that's kind of like, come on.
Right.
Like, you're
I
not
feel
making
like
a
it's an
unique god at
awkward
that point. You're
ult
making a god
on
that can turn
Morgan
into
though.
anybody.
Like I feel like her ult is like the least synergistic part of her kit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it just doesn't like okay, I get what her 1 and her 2 and her 3 do, right? She's got
Mhm.
like this magical Loki with a bit of range and some stun to it, right?
Yep.
And then the ult's just like, yeah, I turn into somebody else. It's like, where the fuck did that come from? Like I get it, part of the lore, stuff like that, transforms, but it's like what? It
Yeah, dude,
just
they took it from
doesn't
Dragon Age, bro.
fit.
They stole Morgan from Dragon Age, dude. She's shapeshifting in
Boy.
Dragon Age. They're like, oh, she could shapeshift in Dragon Age. Let's make her
Back on the
shapeshift in
Dragon
Smite.
Age train.
I was telling Fro, I was playing Dragon Age and I was talking to Fro one time when I was doing it. And I was like, dude, I can't believe they ripped fucking Morgan from Dragon Age, dude. And Fro just like, he just like, you could tell he did like the disappointed like sigh. He's like, ah. Like,
Right. Well, Fro Double G. Oh, did I hear word of a diamond challenge that happened the other week?
Oh shit. Do we gotta roll for Dep?
I think we might need to roll for me. And do we
Right,
need to
so
roll for Riggs as
We
well?
do not need to
Are
roll
you
for rigs.
participating? Okay.
I mean, he's obviously not participating, but we did I still rolled for him the other day when we were in a Discord.
Okay.
You're gonna have to check who that is. Oh my god. I just rolled your god
Riggs.
while we were talking, Dep. But Riggs, you're gonna have to check to see who you got. I don't remember who it was. I remember that you said it wasn't going to happen, though, so that's probably true. By the way, Ravana, probably not going to happen for me. I'm gonna give it a shot, but holy fuck, I missed his time.
No, you play 3 games and you're like, well, fuck this.
Yeah.
I will say there's 2 types of people in Smite game. There's the people that eat, sleep, and breathe Rama or no Ravana. Fuck Vamana. They all sound so damn similar. Vamana, and they're good at him.
Like
And
they're
then
from the same fucking language or something.
and then there's everyone else, right? Imagine. And then there's the people that don't. And I'm one of those that don't. I just don't have a good time. Like, I'm sure if I practiced, I could be. I just don't want to.
Well, with this diamond challenge, you probably will have a good time because you got Thanatos.
I wonder
Jesus.
where I'm at with him. I wonder.
I
Ooh,
remember mine, by the way.
Thanatos.
Mine
Fucking
was
Depp got his
Baba.
name. Baba, yeah. And you're like, yeah, that
There's
ain't
no
happening.
way I'm touching Baba, dude. She's my least favorite guy in the whole fucking game.
Baba slaps. I'm secretly a Baba main.
Dude, she's so clunky. I hate her.
How is she clunky?
Yeah.
She does every ability.
It's
just
the
like
RNG on the 1. It's the RNG on the 2.
Not
every
clunky.
ability has a cast time. Like every ability has such a long cast time too.
I'll
Like,
take that.
Her 1
I'll
is
accept
kind of
that.
instant.
Yeah.
Her 2, you have to toggle it, and then if you want to throw it, and it's a delay on the throw. Her 3 is such a long delay to the jump. Her ult takes forever to be able
Oh,
to do
Fro
anything.
double G. My worshippers on Thanatos, 2793. I'm gonna
You
catch.
get this done real
I'm gonna
soon.
catch this 3K real easy.
Oh yeah.
Hell.
Is it?
See,
Worshippers still
okay, so the help
its
with the
favorite?
clunk of the 2 on Baba is like literally just always pull out a potion and pocket it, right? And then
No, yeah, I
always
know.
be holding a potion. You never
Well, and
want to
here's the
have to
thing,
try to
too.
cast it then throw it. You want to
Here's-
just like literally if you're in non-combat, hold your
Yeah.
potion, have it out because then
But
the casting
also
time feels much
keep-
smoother because it's just like a toss.
Keep swapping for a good potion.
Yeah, I just feel like the
Like, some
travel time
potions
for
are
the
better.
2 takes forever as well. Like,
Well, yeah, especially if you have to like draw out a potion and then throw it, it fucking
Yeah.
is forever. But that's why like if you just always sit holding a potion ready to be thrown, right?
Yeah.
It does feel a little better in that aspect. But I can definitely agree, like the wind up time on everything, because like even the ult, like the house will drop down real quickly, but then you like to actually be able to start
Takes
throwing the things
forever
on
to
the
fucking
ground
throw
takes
Yeah,
forever.
so-
Yeah.
The
okay, I thought
3
that was a bug. Anytime
No.
I play Baba, I can't auto on Baba when I'm in her ult until like fucking like 2 seconds into the ult. I'm like running
Yeah.
around as a chicken. I can't
yeah,
do
and it
anything
sucks
for a
because
while.
the
Is
whole
that a bug, or
knockup's
is that supposed to be-
wasted. No,
Right.
it's like that, but it's like your whole knockup's wasted. It's like, dude, I would love to fucking throw something down when they're literally not knocked up and can't juke this, or while they
Yeah.
are knocked up and can't juke. There we go. But no, yeah, that is like that. So that's I agree. Also very clunky and like long feeling. I can that one I will give you feels clunky. And then the 3, like it's a delayed to that, but that's like intentional, right? Because she has damage mitigations, like while she's in her cauldron, and that's like supposed to be part of it. Is like you can mitigate some damage in that.
Yeah.
So I get that, but then that's still delayed damage. So yeah, her damage is very delayed feeling, very slow to come out feeling. Especially if like you don't do the things like on the 2, like always having one ready to go. Yeah, definitely. But clunky, I'm gonna have to say just probably the ult.
Well, I mean, like, you have to cast the potion and then throw the potion. You know, pressing more buttons to deal the damage never feels good, right?
Right. I think then a lot of that can feel clunky because a lot of people like will accidentally like hit the button twice and pocket it. But I don't necessarily think like that's not the ability being clunky. That's you hitting the wrong button.
No. I mean, like, even just like pulling it into your hand and then having to throw it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Always have one in hand to help. Like,
Then you
which
can't
you
auto
should
the
be doing.
wave.
Well, I mean,
You know what, Fro Double G? At the sake of beating a dead horse, why don't we
killing a
thank
fucking
some
wave here?
people?
Are we autoing a wave? Or are we talking about how
We're-
her abilities are clunky?
We're killing this
Listen,
conversation.
man,
We're-
as an instant cast player, I'm cool with like one ability per kit being something I gotta toggle or do shit. But when it's like fucking her whole kit is
I
delayed
have
shit, I'm not
literally
messing
almost
with that.
every ability in the game on Instacast, and I still enjoy Baba.
Yeah, but you're weird.
He's
Yeah, I'll
not wrong,
accept
bro.
that. I'll accept that.
Yeah,
Just
he's not wrong. Let's thank some people, Pro Double G.
All right. So, thank you to Discord for taking forever to load up since I had to switch away and come back. And thank you to Sadons for all of our wonderful thumbnails. I looked rather majestic in the last one, everyone. You're welcome. And thank you to Raging Kaijin for all the wonderful artwork that we've commissioned from him. And thank you to our wonderful patrons who help us improve our podcast and all the other various content that we make. So, thank you to Asbestos Dog, Weatherman Keith, Jade Flag and Baseball, Griff, Danny Boy, Bombi, Caveman, Neo, Coffin Monkey, City Arlets, Gilly, Snorlax, Weatherman, Adios, Surrember, K Brojo, Famous Freak, Stoffmeister, Backlash, Sadons, Dr. Godfucker, Lantern, Reese, Warlord Yo, Batskid, Echo Dunk, Doc, Necros, Otterjoe, Riggs, Drakon Prime, Glen Wiggle, Granite Boys, Camo Hoss, Void vs. Void, Enbright, Cyan, Gemini, Batman, Sandman, Aquasoft, Kilowatt Man, I'm a Hater, Mr. Man, Colorado, and the Big Red. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to say that I'm heart-handing, and this is probably the best looking one I've ever done because I'm not on video and I have no proof that I'm lying. It's Sunday. We all know what happens on Sunday.
Cool downs.
Football, baby.
Oh, and football.
Yeah.
NFL's back today. College was back yesterday.
Yo,
Dude, let's fucking go.
I saw some weird shit about Thursday night football being on Amazon Prime. Is that right?
It is next week, starting next week. This week it was because it was
weird.
the kickoff game. It was the first game of the year. It was on NBC. But yeah, Amazon has the deal now for Thursday night football, so it'll be on Amazon Prime. I think it's also on Twitch. Last year, I think it was on Twitch too.
Interesting.
So yeah, if you wanna watch football,
Let's
Twitch
get out of here,
Thursdays.
fellas. Let's get out. We got football. We've got
Go
cooldowns
Colts,
running
baby.
over. Bye-bye.
We should probably start some sort of watch party in the Discord for that.
You know, maybe.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bro, stop recording.